Welcome to Talkin' with Dave. Coming to you from his palatial fortress in Sin City, here's Dave.
Hey, how we doing today? I hope you're doing great. I'm top shelf, and I'd like to think I'm free. That's what we're going to talk about today, freedom. What an interesting concept. I know today we talk about freedom, everything from the mantras or the philosophical statements. Freedom isn't free, and it's not. You have to work for it, whether you're talking about patriotic freedom, freedom as a nation. I'm not going to get that deep. I'm going to get a lot more deeper, though, on the personal side of things. And I don't mean that I'm going to tell you all about Dave's deep, dark secrets, because I don't have any. I think you know them by now. However, I go back to a time, I was really close to Papa, my granddad. And I remember one time I was out of college. I was looking at different jobs. I had just gotten married. Actually, I was engaged. So I was going to get married. And I went to Papa. I was the only person at that point, either side, that had a college education. And so that means nothing, honestly. It's what you do with it. And so I was talking to him. I've got a couple of jobs I'm interviewing. I don't have any offers yet. I'm getting married. All this stuff's going on. And I didn't really ask him for advice because he didn't like it when you did that. But what you do is you talk to him and then you listen. And he said, I remember like yesterday, we were on his front porch. He said, well, David Lynn, I hated it. I hated when people call me David Lynn, but it's okay when he did. He said, David Lynn, I know this. If you can pay your bills with either job, take the one that gives you more freedom. Okay, all right. Didn't think about that. I was thinking money. Where do I live? All the G.I. Joe with the Kung Fu grip. Let me get that suit. Let me get that car. Am I at college? The world owes me. All right, freedom. I don't care what he had said. I would listen to it. And I was thinking, okay, well, let's think about that. So I started looking at them a little differently. And the choice was obvious, and it was the right choice. However, I'm taking this advice from a man at the time. He was, 70s, 70-something, and no high school education, became a machinist, has a nice plot of land, earned a good living, retired, plenty of money, actually died a millionaire or more at that time, which in today's money would have been far more than that. However, we worked as a machinist or a farmer, and he's telling me to pick the one with freedom. And he didn't go on and on about it, and so I did. And I thought, okay. And then as I go on through my career, looking at different things and different positions, different projects, that is so important. I have given that advice dozens of times, the same advice. Because freedom, think about it. Freedom to what? Freedom to do what? When I think of a job, I think, okay, freedom to set my own schedule. Freedom to have some autonomy as far as decisions are made. Freedom to come and go as I please, which is very important. If I had to go to a 9-to-5 job at a building every day, not only could I not stand it, everybody there would quit. Inside of 6 months, we can't take this guy anymore. That's why I didn't finish my degree in accounting. I'm thinking, these are good people in here, and they deserve better than to be stuck in a cubicle next to me. So that freedom, and it's resonated through my career, through my life, because freedom, he was talking about so much more. And I'll talk to you about revisiting this with him in the years after. But, the world will define freedom differently. So think about it. What does freedom mean to you? And let's not talk about patriotic freedom right now. pledge allegiance to the flag. I appreciate it every day. But that's not what we're talking about here. We have that. An O-Talk is not going to give you that. So think about this. Freedom as the world would look at it, and maybe the way we look at it, I get to do whatever I want. I'm free. As long as it's legal. As long as it's legal. And I can take selfies and put it on Instagram or Facebook or TikTok or whatever. Freedom to do that's freedom. Or some people think about freedom in the financial realm. Make enough money. That's what you do. You can buy freedom, until you realize, all right, this cage I'm in is still, hey, there's another cage with a better view. And so, does it? Okay, well, some people feel that. If I make enough money can't buy happiness. Well, it can buy me a truck. And then I think a lot of it is freedom. It just gives you more choices. I got more choices. Yeah, that's great. Sometimes choices is a bondage. There's a lot of freedom in the fact that I don't have to choose. What did Rush say? If you choose not to make a choice, you still have made a choice. That's not word for word. Also, a lot of people think freedom is not being told what to do. You can tell me what to do. I am free from structure. I am free from rules. I am free from accountability in my life. Of course, there are laws, and there's, I got to earn a living and all this stuff. Yeah, okay, freedom to, I don't want to be told, you're not the boss of me. Okay. And then there's freedom to express yourself however you want. Whatever you want to wear, whatever you want to say, wherever you want to go, however you want to identify. All of that. Yeah, that's a different kind of freedom. Yeah, that's fantastic. However, a lot of those, you look at a lot of those freedoms, there's a catch. The world doesn't always say that you can have absolute freedom in any of those ways. It doesn't. It doesn't. You can do whatever you want up to a point. Financial independence, well, you know what? That's they talk about FU money. Well, sometimes that can get you in other kinds of trouble that doesn't allow for freedom. More choices? Yeah, sometimes you have so many choices, you're in bondage for trying to choose. Too much of a good thing. Or you get paranoid about the ramifications of these and you go through analysis paralysis. That's not freedom. Freedom of not being told what to do? Well, let me tell you something. Guidance is very valuable, and guidance can sustain freedom. So if you're going to be out on an island, well, you're free. Not on an island, you're not. You're confined. And then self-expression. We can go on and on about this. This takes on a life of its own. At some point, self-expression can get you back into some type of bondage. So, what does the world say around this? Consumption over contentment. My granddad did not believe in this. He'd never been happier than when he was poor. He lived very simple. But the world says more, 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 more. Give me that all-you-can-eat buffet in a 5-star restaurant full with wonderful food, and just let me consume. Let me spend money on everything. Let me put all this stuff in the driveway so people that drive by can see it. Indulgence. Let me indulge in all of this stuff. Let me live fast, do all this stuff. I don't need discipline. Visibility. I got to keep up with the Joneses. You know what? Let's make the Joneses keep up with me. Look at all my stuff. I'll make everything look. It's all a facade. But however, it's visibility over authenticity. I look this way. As long as they think that, that's fine. Or comfort. Comfort. This is easy. This is safe. I'm good. Over courage, which is I want to strive to be more. I want to do more. I want to do more for me. I want to do more for the family. I want to do more at work. A lot of it is just, there's a lot to be said for being able to sleep good at night. For, I got it. No matter who knows that. No matter who knows that. It's a version of freedom that looks powerful on the surface. That's what the world wants you to do. But it leaves people lost, disconnected, and absolutely constantly performing for the crowd. When you're performing for a crowd and you need their approval, that's not freedom. That's not freedom at all. When somebody got something, now you have to have it. That's not freedom. Somebody's making your choices for you. Or somebody's making you make a choice. That's not freedom. And comparing this back and forth, my Papa was a very simple man with simple needs, but he wasn't a peasant. He had plenty of money. He kept it. He kept his money. But true freedom, it comes from inside. It does. And the world's freedom, it comes from what you have or what you do. True freedom comes from a peace, if you have a purpose. And I'm not going to get too cliche, but they say once you find there are 2 days that are important in your life: the day you're born and the day you find out why. I love that, your purpose. It took me a while. Mine fell in my face. Actually, it hit me in the face, fell in my lap, crawled up my chest, and punched me in the face of why I'm here. So that's important, and that carries me through times that I probably wouldn't get through without it, or wouldn't get through in the same way without it. Where the world just says, hey, comfort and popularity, comfort and popularity. Well, I'm telling you, it's uncomfortable seeking and maintaining popularity. So those contradict each other. And then finally, authenticity to me is one of the keys to true freedom. Image is everything now. Oh, it's unbelievable. And thankfully, with some of the filters and access to some of the AI and other things, yeah, okay, I can paint a pretty picture of Dave. Haven't yet, as some of you are quick to point out. However, authenticity and being okay with who you are and your authenticity, that is a step toward freedom. And we're going to get to that a little bit more. But, requiring responsibility and boundaries and avoiding rules and even asking for advice. When you do all that in the guise of freedom, you're fooling yourself. You need a deeper connection to all of these things you're running from will lead to the freedom you're talking about. Bottom line, the world markets freedom like a product. Here's what it is. My goodness, the ads. It's unbelievable. After I do these podcasts, I get all kinds of ads. I have been doing, I've set up a masterclass. It's on otalks.com now, just a high-level view of it. I am bombarded with ads for coaching, training, facilitating, all of these things. They want me to get certified. They want me to, please. I have classes full of your certified people. Give me a break. Not that there's anything wrong with that. But just saying this, everybody's listening. The world is pushing it as a product. But real freedom, you can't buy it. You build it. And you do it one brave decision at a time. I've got one coming up on brave. What people say is brave. The things the world think is brave is hilarious. It's crazy. And we throw that word around just like a lot of other words to the point where it loses its power. Brave. Brave decisions lead to freedom. So just to hit it home again, if you think, these aren't bad things, but I'm going to run through 10 quick things that we think are important, but really flash in the face of freedom. And you're going to disagree with some of these. Hopefully we'll talk through it. Some of them are nice to have, but The world wants us to strive for these. And internally, we want to too. We want these things. Wealth, absolutely. Money can buy me options. Yeah. Without freedom, you're just a well-funded prisoner. Approval of others. Oh, absolutely. Oh, I like to be liked. Looks great on the surface, but until you're free, you're living a life dictated by a committee because it's their approval you're looking for. They decide that. That's not freedom. However, we still want it. Status, titles. Yeah. How many times have you gone in for a raise and instead they gave you a fancy title? We'll give you new business cards and we'll put senior beside your old title. Oh, well, okay. Yeah, it's important. Yeah. Well, they say a CEO of a cage is still in a cage. It's not freedom, status, and titles. Please, you can call me a bedbug. I don't care. But we look for it. That's important. Comfort. Oh, yeah, everybody needs comfort. But to what degree? Soft couch isn't worth giving up your voice or your choices or your dreams. Oh, yeah, I'm comfortable. I've got it. I've got this. I can put in my 30 years and then I can retire with this amount of money and I can go to the same restaurant and have the same friends. I don't have to make choices because my routine is set because I've been doing it my whole life with the same people, the same places. Now, if that's comfortable and it's fine, that's not freedom. You think it's freedom? Stop doing one of those things and wait for your phone to ring. Or wait for other people. Because if you want the approval of others, don't break your routine. Dude, it's Tuesday night. Where were you? We were at the Mexican restaurant. Come on. That's not freedom. Okay? So we're molding the definition a little more. Tradition. I love tradition. I do. There's a lot of things. We've talked about the difference in ritual and tradition. Well, tradition, I think we should honor the past. I think we should honor past accomplishments, our ancestors. My goodness, in the South, we used to be a regular thing. I think it was the third Sunday in May, we had decoration. We go to the graveyard. I still, and this is less tradition, but still before I leave, every time I go visit my dad, I go by my mom's grave. My mom is not in there. Trust me. But I do. And I have a moment. That's something, it's a tradition for me. There's a tradition, ritual, whatever. Yeah. But I choose to do that. I'm not harnessed by that. If you're forced to do these things, any things, out of tradition, against your will, that's not freedom. And sometimes tradition takes over to the point where you don't even know I forgot why we're doing this. What? Security. Security is very important. It's important to me, but it's with the wife and kids and people I love, that security is very important. But the illusion of safety also comes, think about it, at the cost of liberty, of freedom, of curiosity. Okay? Meaning, sometimes you got to take a chance. Yeah, sometimes you got to walk around that corner. Sometimes you've got to break loose of that job to try to do something else. Yeah, it's comfortable. It's secure. Yeah, I can work here till the day I die. Well, you can. It's almost like, they say married men live longer, about 10 years longer than unmarried people. Yeah. But what if they don't want to? So that security, sometimes you got to break loose to that to be free. Security, by its definition, is a lack of freedom. But that's what we want. We like that. We need security. And I agree. Being liked. And this is different than approval of others. Being liked is more, I want you to like me. You don't have to approve of what I do, but I just want to make a good impression and be liked. I may never see you again, but I want you to like me. I want people to like me. As I keep going, though, that's not as important as it used to be. Freedom lets you be respected. Freedom is I'm confident enough to where if they like me, fine. And if they don't, okay. I wish they did, but I'm free. But still being unapologetically you. That's freedom. Like me or not. I call it thinning the herd, I'll be authentic, and if you like me, you'll hang around me, and we'll probably get along. I like you. We have to thin the herd again, don't we? However, being liked can't be a bondage over freedom. Perfection. I don't have this problem. Some people do. They got to get it all right. They can't make mistakes. One misstep is catastrophic. That's probably the most, elegant form of self-imprisonment. A perfectionist. I got to get it right. I can't make mistakes. Those people that are so heavenly minded, they're no earthly good. Those people that everything has to be so perfect that it is, but their life's a shambles. Those people who focus on being a parent to the point to where when the kids get out of the house, they don't call them back. Yeah, you did by the book. You raised your kids correctly. Yeah, when's the last time they called you? When's the last time you hung out as adults? So sometimes that's seeking perfection. That's a prison. It's not freedom. And it's stability. The stability, predictability feels like peace. It feels safe. However, it's just a polished cage. I want things to be stable. I need things to be this. I want things to be, I can have a little bit of a buffer, but I'm tightening my world a little too tight, just under the guise of being stable. And what is stable? We can do a whole podcast on stability. And then the last one I'll hit, and we'll get on to some more stuff, is success. Well, if you're trying to be liked and the approval of others and all these other things, why do you think you can define what success is? A resume of wins doesn't mean anything unless somebody else sees them as wins and you're checking your box. And the cost of that is, what do you want? What do you want? I remember we had this discussion when we left, we moved out of 4 little towns we've lived in forever to Chattanooga, 3 hours away. That was huge. What? You're leaving? Oh, they'll be back. Then we moved to California. What? But I remember part of the conversation we had was, it's tough, but this is what we want to do. And I wasn't free. My wife made this decision. And put our kids through some challenges. They came out the other side stronger for it. However, we didn't let success be what it was to the little town we lived in, because that's great for people who that's what they want. We would not have been free. That was a box that we had to get out of. And we decided, what we did? We discovered we're the weird ones here. Everybody else believes differently than us, and we had to go. So freedom, it's not just an idea, a political idea. It's a group, a committee. It's personal. And not to you and your spouse or your partner or whoever. It's to you, very personal. It's the power to choose your path, your voice. And sleep well knowing that you didn't trade something for applause or a pat on the back. Those things happen on your way. And we get confused about freedom. Freedom, because freedom's quiet. Like my grandfather. Papa was quiet. All those things that I just named, he may have wanted that. He attained all of it. But I can promise you this, he didn't care what other people thought. Just to go back down the list, Papa, he didn't care about approval of others. Not at all. Not at all. I remember only time he talked on the phone is when somebody called, Mama answered, and it was something, and the phone call lasted less than a minute. He didn't strive for wealth. He accumulated it over time. He never made more than probably $30,000, $35,000 a year. He had money and his land accumulated. He didn't waste it. That's how he kept it. Status and titles? He was a machinist, but that's what they called him. He didn't care. Senior machinist? He didn't care about that. Farmer? Yeah, I farmed. People would brag on him about his mechanic ability because he was a machinist. He can make parts. I just tinker. He downplayed that. He didn't go for comfort. My goodness. They had the same furniture the entire time I knew him. He bought a new car one time, but he bought it from Mama. They had 3 channels. They could have furnished that house very well. They ate simply. He didn't go for comfort. He did honor tradition. However, he did it in his own way. He did it in a quiet way, a very personal way. He had security. He had a gun. You didn't have to worry about the internet, but he could look out the window and see somebody coming, 10 minutes before they got there. They came down the lane. He was ready by the time they got there. Being liked, everybody liked him. Everybody liked him. He didn't care, though. He did the right thing, and that caused people to like him or enjoy being around him. He was funny. He was. Perfection? Absolutely not. He was his biggest critic, but he didn't strive for it. He wanted it to be right, but not perfect. Stability? He had stability, but he worked for stability. He worked 2 jobs. He worked at night, worked all day long farming, then went to school and had to become a machinist in his 30s with a family of 4. And then success, by anybody's definition, he had success. But success was for him was to eventually retire, move back to the farm, and he was free. Absolutely. So the chase for freedom, I think we chase it and we don't even know because we're interested in those 10 things. But why do we chase things like those 10 things or other things instead of what freedom really is? I think we're programmed that way. Culture programs that way. Have enough money, you'll be free. We're told that. That ego, likes. Your value is determined by your likes. Yeah. You're in bondage to checking that number. You're in bondage. If your ego has to be stroked for you to be free, that is a never-ending endeavor. Also, just the external definitions of success. We measure ourselves by other metrics, other people's metrics. That's not freedom. Because the goalposts move on that. I got this. But that's not it now. Now you need this. Yeah. And a lot of people fear true freedom. A lot of that because that takes risk. You have to take responsibility for your actions and your authenticity. And then, you may be misunderstood and this work for nothing. Freedom doesn't have misunderstanding. Authenticity is just that. It's up to others to understand it when you're free. That's scary to some people, though. I don't want to be totally responsible. I want to be busy. I want to be successful. I want to be important. Okay. If that's your goal, you're not going to be free. Freedom comes on the road to those things or once those things have happened. But freedom is in here. And then you have that whole illusion. We think once we get there, I made it. I have attained freedom. But you never. It's not a lifetime card. It's something, every little bit of it that you get, you guard it. You set boundaries and you maintain it. And then it's an as you go. Do you get to keep it or not? Because you can give it up. It's not the reward for everything you're working for. It's the reason. It's the reason. And you gain it in areas as you go, and you got to collect it. Money, power, success, they come on the path to freedom. You got to understand that. And don't let them become the destination, because you can lose them. And so this is why I see a lot of people that are so confused. They're so stressed. They're worried. All the SWDs is because they're looking for things to give them something that's not the answer. It's not a destination. So let's get into it. Why is freedom so important? I mean, it is authenticity. With authenticity, unapologetic authenticity, that's where freedom comes from. Sometimes you can be authentic and you have to do other things. However, you don't compromise your authenticity. You know who you are. And that's the first step. Also, with that, because you get more responsibility. You know, I'm in charge now. That's not liberation. That's maturity, because I'm in charge now means I'm accountable. I'm responsible. That will help you with your choice making. And when you're making your choices, okay, a little more freedom. All right. Also, creativity. You're authentic. You're making your choices now. Along with that comes creativity. I can express myself without editing, because this is me. I remember when I wrote my books, the first couple, the editor losing their mind because they wanted to say it this way. There was no AI. There was just their history and their opinion and all of this. No, I want to do it. No, I don't want to do it that way. That doesn't sound like me. That's not how I talk. And we had a rough time, because this is the way I talk. This is me. All right. This has got my name on it, and I want it, this creativity part, the way I tell this story, the way I put it, it's got to be authentic creativity, or anybody can write this. Anybody that comes to my sessions knows, well, that's different. We laugh, we cut up, we have a great time. We put stuff up on the walls. If I heard a good booger joke, I'll tell it. That's who I am. That's why at the end, at the beginning, how y'all doing? That's me, man. And at the end, giddy up. That's me. That's not professional. It's authentic. And authenticity and all these things, the creativity, the responsibility, it creates room, and this is corny, for love. Not obligation, but love. When people choose to be in your life now, it's because of these things. I'm authentic. I take responsibility for what I say, do, wear, for the words I use, for the faces I make. That's crazy. I don't know that. Okay. You love it? Great. Oh, sweet. If you don't, okay. Okay. Well, what do you got? I'm not going to change, but okay. But people that love that choose to be in your life because they like it, not out of obligation. And those that do it out of some false obligation, well, they may not last. They may. But they're not there because they have to be. They want to be. That gives me freedom. They've got more freedom too. That gives me freedom in the relationship. Because I know I don't have to pander to any of these people. They're here because they want to be. They like what I do. And what I do is authentic. Okay. So I just keep being authentic. The crowds may get smaller. They may grow. I'm not measuring myself on the size of the crowds. And it keeps you alive. It's fantastic. You can survive without freedom. There's no doubt about it. And most people do. But you can't really be alive without freedom. And that's, thriving. Are you living? Are you alive? Freedom does it. And when you get a taste of it, it's fantastic. And that's what freedom is? And then you'll begin to see, I'm free here. I'm not free there. I'm free in this part of my life. I'm not in this. So It's fantastic, and you grow. It's not just that first job. And so I remember when Papa moved back to the farm, and we were there, and we were talking about I was going to be there for a couple of days. What are you doing tomorrow? I don't know. I got to do, I started to say I got to do. He didn't have to do anything. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And then it was just a couple of things in the morning. And then and he said this, you know what I'm not going to do? I'm not going to punch a clock. And he said that a bunch of times. But he would do things like, I'm going to count my cows. And then I don't know if I'm going to drive or walk to the mailbox. It depends on if it's raining or not. I enjoy that walk. This is the thing. And I remember him saying, I've got all the free time I want, but I've got more than I want, which means, I can do whatever I want. I'm free. However, he liked to stay busy, not because he had to. Then sometimes we get in the truck and go to the neighbor who'd been having problems with something. He would see if he could help. On his time, and it was his choice. Several times we would do that. And sometimes it would give him other things to do. He actually struggled with free time. On a farm, that's why he went back to the farm. Always something to do. So freedom is not being so busy. And I love to be busy, but it's not chaos. It's not chaos. It doesn't create chaos. Freedom is doing whatever you choose to do and understanding the consequences, but doing it anyway because you're free. It's not escape from responsibility. No, you're responsible. You have to be responsible to be free. That builds in the freedom. If I'm responsible, hey, I know that going in. It's not freedom from responsibility. And it's not comfort. A lot of times it makes you uncomfortable. I know, my goodness, comfortable would have been sitting on the porch till lunchtime. Nope, he would look for things to do. He would find a project. He would create puzzles to solve for himself or someone else. So freedom is not a get out of jail free card. No, not at all. And ultimately, freedom means you don't need permission. Freedom means you can say what you want at whatever volume. You don't have to yell. You don't even have to say it to somebody else. You have your voice. You have your voice. And then also it's movement, meaning I can go and do whatever I want, whenever I want, if that's what I choose to do. But it's not everything. But without it, you're going to feel like something's missing. And these are the people that complain. Listen to what people complain about. Usually their complaints are around areas where they have no freedom, yet they won't choose it. Freedom is the ability to live, speak, choose, and become without compromising who you are to meet somebody else's standards or expectations or rules or their fears. Oh, so many people around me are so afraid of everything. They're so afraid of losing what they got, they can't enjoy it. It's not about escaping, any of these things that we've talked about around responsibility or comfort or all of that. No, you're compromising that, but it's your choice. Because there's no more freedom, and I don't have complete freedom. There's nothing more satisfying, though, than the areas where you have achieved that freedom. You have to guard it. It is confusing because it's not flashy. Not at all. Freedom's not flashy. Yeah. Money and numbers, you can quantify that. Status, okay. Applause or whatever. You can, okay, I got a lot of money. Okay. Oh, they really like that. Oh, I got their approval. Yeah. It's not on the internet. A lot of other times, other people can't see it. So you have to understand what it means to you. And then you don't care if anybody else sees it or not. Freedom. Also, it hides behind other goals. We chase money and approval and status and all this stuff, but it's because we think that's gonna give us favor or maybe more freedom in other areas. If I make enough money, if I get a job and I get that title and this compensation package and this and work this many years, eventually I'll have enough money to where I'll be free. Well, see, that freedom is hiding behind those other goals. You can be free right now. The thing is, you're thinking those things purchase freedom, and they don't. Freedom's up here. And so that's why clarity, I talked about focus, being able to focus, and focus don't like fuzzy. Clarity on this is so important, and it's tough. It's tough to be clear on this. And daily, I find areas to where, I make that choice, I'm back in bondage. I choose freedom. Freedom forces you to ask yourself, what do I actually want? What do I actually want? So important. Many people avoid that question because the answer may be different than what these people you're trying to please want. And then now you've got an internal conflict. What do you want? Well, I want other people to like me. Oh, okay, well, you don't want freedom. Well, I want a promotion. Well, okay, well, that's great. That's not freedom, though. You're still reporting to somebody else. You've got all these other things that really are in the job you've got. What are you chasing? Freedom hides behind stuff. But it's also freedom is responsibility wrapped like an egg roll. Responsibility wrapped in risk. Yeah, that sounds scary. That doesn't sound like freedom at all. No, you make the choice. You take the responsibility. Nobody else to blame. Nowhere to hide. It's terrifying. What if I fail? Well, there's your ego. You're not free. It's tough, isn't it? And freedom can't be outsourced to somebody else. It's your freedom. No one can hand it to you. It's not there for you to claim. You got to work for it. And often, you've got to reclaim it again and again. You're going to mess up. Oh, now I've got to do that. I don't want to do that. Reclaim your freedom. So the bottom line is the goal. Freedom is the goal that you always are aiming for, even when you call it something else. It's not a trophy. It's the reason you run the race. It's to get to freedom. Because the trophy is something somebody else decided. Okay. So Papo said, if you have a choice, choose freedom. He said, support your family, all that stuff. Let's talk about that. If you got a choice between all of these things that the world says you want or freedom, choose freedom. He's not dismissing money and security and some of these things that you get on the way. He was prioritizing the only thing that money and status can't guarantee: the ability to live on your own terms. It's just fantastic. The parts of your life when you attain that, it makes you want it and everything else. Money can be earned, lost, and replaced. Absolutely. Freedom, once compromised, it's harder to get back. If you let other people determine things for you, it's harder to get back. You can get it back, but you got to set those boundaries. Money can buy comfort, but not contentment. I love that. You can be wealthy. I know so many wealthy people that are miserable and are slaves to their schedule, fear of losing something, fear of being thought of as less than. It's never ending. Freedom allows you to walk away. That's the best thing. I choose not to participate. Glorious ambivalence. I need to do an update to glorious ambivalence. Glorious ambivalence is freedom. You can walk away from a job, a bad deal, toxic people, toxic place, even yourself. I choose not to do that anymore. I know, everybody, just so you know, we all like that guy. I didn't like him anymore. I'm not that guy anymore. And freedom means your values aren't for sale, honestly. They're not for negotiation. So important. So the things The reason freedom, even in this crazy world, still matters now is because, the world glorifies hustle and achievement and accumulation. Yeah, oh yeah. And those things are great, but freedom looks less glamorous. It's one of the things that gives the others meaning, though. I've got freedom to use those things as I want, to make the choices I want. Papa knew that. People with freedom appear to have less of what the world defines as success. But they never have to beg or even bend if they don't want to, or break for something they don't believe in. Papa never did that. You get to that point. Are you there now? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe in certain areas. But freedom is never having to depend or compromise or any of that on someone else. Because if you do, you're not free. And that's a wealth that no bank can measure. Yeah. So, let's just very quickly talk about what it means to be truly free. Real quick. You can say no without guilt. Or you can say yes without fear. It's okay to say no and no guilt. We talk about saying no and how it's harder to do and how it gives you more time, it gives you more control, it gives you all these things. With freedom, you don't have any guilt with it. You already know the consequences. Yes is harder for truly free people because yes could compromise their freedom. No's easy, quick, and the more you do it, the easier it is. You don't feel the need to prove yourself. I'm free. Come on. I'm not auditioning for you to determine my worth. I already belong to what I want to belong to. I may be interested, but I'm not going to be bondage to it. You walk away from things that don't serve your goal of freedom. I'm not signing up for bondage unless I want to and know how I can be free from it. I define success on my terms and my time. That's freedom. You live honestly, even when it's not convenient. There it is. Yeah, I'll have to do that, but I can give you this and to save you all that time. Yeah, but that gift is going to come with a requirement. I'll do it this way. It'll take longer, but it'll be on my terms, and I know I did it, and I won't be beholding to anybody. Who can fuss at that? So, very quickly, 5 ways to become free. Oh, get out your pen and pencil. Get radically clear, crystal clear on what matters to you. You can't be free if you're chasing somebody else's dream. Short term, long term. Probably long term first. And then as you go, your decisions need to be looking at that long term because you can't be free tomorrow, probably. You can't long term. So radically clear on what matters to you. Stop trading authenticity for approval. Be yourself. You are good enough. You are. Every time you don't say something to be liked or say something for approval, you're selling a piece of your authenticity. Be radically clear on what you want. Be authentic. Own your choices. Even the painful ones. The things you've done. You don't have to tell everybody, but own it. Understand this happened to me because of choices I made. Choices have consequences, good and bad. Freedom grows when you take full responsibility for the whole path, weeds and all. 4th, let go of what you thought life had to look like. Nobody knows. Papa's life was much different than mine and much different than my kids. Freedom begins when your expectations are so rigid. Have your goals and go toward them. Have your goals. Don't trade authenticity. Own your choices and understand there is a path, but it's not rigid. You got to own it. And then practice walking away. Practice it. From noise, from jobs, from roles, from environments, from people that drain your power. We give our power away enough as it is, but walk away. Freedom isn't choosing, it's being willing to leave. Those are so important. So it's a very simple thing. Those are 5 quick ones. Be clear on what you want. Be authentic. Don't look for approval. Own your choices. Let go of what you thought it had to look like, because you're looking at through authentic eyes now. And practice walking away. It's so important. Freedom's not living a life that feels true freedom. You're going to be living a life that feels like you own it. Otherwise, you're doing it for other people. And even when it doesn't look like anybody else approves of you or either, you don't care. You're authentic. And true freedom and authenticity, that's more important than money or status or approval or any of this stuff. And it lets you breathe deep and sleep well, which is what Papa attained. And I think more than advice for me, I think that was a goal for me. When he said, if you have a choice between money or freedom, pick freedom. I hope you find it. I hope you find it in different areas of your life. And when you find it, hold on to it. And then you can stick your toe in the water over here. If you don't like it, boom, cut it off. Not in that pond anymore. So I hope this helps. It's a topic that's pretty deep, but it's applicable. It would be a good exercise to make a list. Give me 5 areas of my life where I'm free. Give me 5 areas where I am not. I'm doing this for other people or other reasons. And then take another column and how do I get from this cage to freedom?
Hit me up at Dave@otalks.com. I appreciate everything you send. I answer them. I do. And so also check out otalks.com. Updated, ready to go. It's, we'll still be tweaking on it a little bit, but it's basically saying, hey, book Dave to speak. Also a master class. We're announcing that. It's fantastic. 8 out of the top 10 reasons why salespeople fail. It's not sales training. They're trained. Everything else gets in their way. So the master class takes care of that. We can hit your team with it. We can do sales managers or individuals. We can customize that bad boy. And then the last thing on the website talks about, hey, Talking with Dave. You're already doing that. It's fantastic. And I appreciate it. I appreciate everything you do for me. I appreciate you hanging out. I appreciate you hanging on. But most of all, I appreciate you Talking with Dave.
Have you recently started a new job and feeling a little overwhelmed with all the new challenges and requests from your coworkers? We know just how you feel, and we are here to help. Call Greenhorn Supply. We have everything you're being asked to deliver. Blinker fluid, polka dot paint, metric hammers. Don't look dumb just because you're new. Let us help you out. We've got left-handed screwdrivers, hammer grease, and if you need a bucket of steam, we just got in a truckload. And if you call in the next 3 minutes, we'll give you our free instruction manual covering how to milk a bull and how to get to the second floor or the basement of a 1-story building. Call 1-800-486-3862. That's 1-800-I-AM-DUMB. Or visit our website at greenhornsupply.no.edu. Plug in your social security number and credit card info and we'll deliver your order same day. Or just send us cash to 1449 Gullible Lane, BFE, OU812, and we'll deliver your order same day. Don't look stupid just because you're new. Call Greenhorn Supply.